Good evening. It's Paranormal Science Lab Live. This is Lisa, and I'm going solo tonight because Kathy got unfortunately sidetracked with something family related, and she's not joining us tonight. But we're going to have a great show tonight. We have a great guest, and that's Chris Sutton, and he's a paranormal investigator and a shamanistic practitioner. Chris, how are you doing?
Good evening, Lisa. I'm doing really good. It's really glad to be on your show.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on, and I hate that you're missing my co-host, Kathy. She always comes up with things that I don't think of, so I might have to think a little harder tonight. So.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm sorry I missed you, but I'm sure you'll do fine.
Okay. Well, thank you. And we thought we were going to actually have you down for an event last month, and that didn't quite work out.
Right. I hate to miss that too. I know you guys had a good time with Selena Roan down there, and so yeah, I'm sure you guys had a ball.
Oh, we did, but we'll get you down here sometime. There's a lot of great places, and I think you'd enjoy. So.
Oh yeah, I looked at my aunt and uncle lived in Springfield, and so
really?
I'm kind of familiar with the area down there a little bit. So I always like going down there.
Oh, fantastic! Well, then, see, it's almost a second home, huh?
That's right.
Well, let's start out a little bit of what got you into all of this.
Wow, when I was growing up, I never thought about anything like this before. When you were young, you hear ghost stories and things like that, but it was, nothing that you thought of being real particularly. Make a trip to the graveyard once in a while and get scared, that kind of thing, but nothing like that. And spiritual wise, I was raised as a Unitarian, so there's not much mysticism there, or a lot of religion for that matter. I mean, they're very humanist, which means they believe that people do good things because they're good people, not because of any type of supreme being or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my life right there as far as those things went. When I was 35 years old, I went to my dad. My daughter was just one then, and my wife says, "Oh, the powwow is coming just 20 minutes from where we live," which is really strange. We live in the middle of nowhere practically, and but the National Powwow was coming there, and this is the fairgrounds of this little county we lived in Eastern Illinois. And so I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about it, but it sounds kind of cool. And so, because she would powwow dance when she was an explorer, scout thing. And so, she wanted to see if she knew anybody there, and she took, did her regalia in case she wanted to dance. And so we go, and I, getting into the regalia. You'll say costumes like that. It's called regalia, which is what different people wear, and the tribes and whatnot. And so you had people from all over the United States and Canada, and all these different, because the Plains people dress one way, and the Woodland and the Woodland people dress a different way. So you've got all this fancy dance stuff, and it was really cool. And I wandered into I guess this is a county fairground, so we got like livestock barns and stuff like that, where they used to show pigs and stuff. And so I want to go to this one, and they're doing a gourd dance, it's a warrior's dance, and the drumming is really, really intense in those types of dances. They're for people who have been in the service, or you could also people whose fathers have been in the service or been in war. Mm-hmm. They would be the ones dancing. And so I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, this feeling comes over me. And it's like, all of a sudden I realize, wait a minute, there's something else here that I don't know about it, because I feel like I got one foot in this world, and I realize, hey, there's another world here that I don't know about. I can feel it, because I'm like half here and half someplace else. And it's, it's like ready to tell me that's the spirit world. And I'm like, wow, this is insane. It's not like, I drink, I used to smoke weed back before when I was in my 30s and stuff. I said, this is completely different than that. Mm-hmm. And so I came out there. I said, I got to figure this out. So I went and grabbed a book. It's called Black Elk Speaks. It's about a Sioux medicine man. And I read that, and I said, oh, this would be really cool to do this. And, to do things like this is so cool, talking about doing healing work and things like that. And this is the shaman stuff. And so I thought to myself, I really wanted to do some of these ceremonies, like pipe ceremonies and sweat lodges and things. Well, so I'm leafing through this little newspaper came out of Chicago called the Monthly Aspectarian. And there's a little ad in there. It's like a New Age magazine that they print up in Chicago. And there's a new an ad in there that says pipe circle. Wow, and that's what the Lakota people, not the Plains people, play with a pipe and do ceremony with a pipe. So I said, I want to go there. So I called them up. They said, yeah, come on up. And that started the road right there and then. That's how it all started.
Oh, wow. It's, because so many times when you ask someone that question, how they got somehow involved in the paranormal field or spiritual work, it's often you get a childhood story. And had you ever had any hint that of the other side of the veil or anything before?
Yeah, I didn't know it though. I looked back later. And said, "Oh, that's what that means." I could, get a feel for people because I'm an empath too,
right?
And so I could read people when I was little, and nobody wants to believe what you're saying, and I get it. I'm not mad at anybody for not believing me, but yeah, I'm like, no, that person's fine. I knew they weren't. That there was something wrong about them and stuff like that. But after a while, you were starting to suppress it. Because nobody's buying it. And so, yeah, he's like, okay, I'll stuff this down. Of course, especially if you're an empath, well, then you start eating a bunch of other people's emotions. You don't know why. And there's a story I'll tell later about that. But, so yeah, hey, I'm a kid, and I can feel people. I can feel emotions. I would shy away. I was actually kind of shy. And I'm still more introverted than I am. I mean, I do the tests and stuff, and it says I'm more introverted, which I am more introverted. And I like to be alone. In other words, if I don't mind, I can be around people. I'm not terribly shy anymore. But I think part of the reason I was shy is because I could feel people's feelings, and it was, that was disconcerting to me.
Well, and I agree, and I think most sensitives have that experience. I know I did growing up, and it's kind of amusing because I ended up being an attorney, and then I'm a frequent speaker, do podcasts, etc. But it's just one of those things that it's almost that you learn to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you learn to shield yourself. And I'm lucky in a way. I know some people that are switched on all the time, and they have to work on keeping to switch themselves off. I'm kind of the opposite. I can stay switched off until now. There's a threshold if something really is negative or really strong. I'll wake up, or I can switch it off myself if I want to find something out.
Right.
But yeah, I just learned at an early age to be able to do that. And I'm glad. I know some people drive them half nuts because they can't stop other people's feelings from intruding on them, and it's real difficult for them.
It's an acquired skill, I think. I think we all have to just kind of figure out how to do it, and then sometimes, even when you get fairly good at it, there are times it just doesn't work as well.
Yeah, it doesn't. You can be if you're tired. It's more difficult if you're in a situation like Christmas shopping. I hate Christmas shopping.
Yes.
Because people are insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like being in crowds of people when they're like that, and it really bugs me. And so it's real difficult when you're around a lot of people. Going through at the ball game, it can be difficult to endure. If you're like, I live right across from St. Louis, and so I go to the Cardinals game. I went to the St. Louis Blues hockey game. And it's difficult at times. A lot of it depends on my mood and how tired I am.
I think that's a good point, and I think that's something that people don't think about a lot, is that sensitives can get sort of that, it's almost a frenzied feeling, even if the crowd is not angry or upset, even if it's something they're in a good mood, like your team's winning at the ball game. It's just a matter of almost the voltage going in.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it too. Is the voltage, and you have to kind of let the voltage go through you and not ground, not let it ground itself in you. You got to kind of let it pass through.
Exactly.
And go about its merry way, because otherwise, I've seen. I got pretty messed up at one point in my time. I spent a lot of years counseling juvenile sex offenders, and they're talking about a bunch of messed up kids. they were abusers, and then they were all abused. I mean, every one of them were abused when they were children. So, and at that time, that's before I realized that I was empathic, or learned that I was empathic. And I had, I got pretty messed up there for a while, depressed and whatnot. And I couldn't, you can't figure out why. And then I found out, well, this is why. And so, the wise thing to do is to quit doing that, which I did, and, to do other things. And now I do stuff where I'm not counseling people all the time. I can do it. I can still do it, but not every second of the day for 8 hours anymore.
Right,
I can pick my spots. And if I'm doing spiritual work, I can do it, yeah.
I have very similar experiences because most of my legal career has been spent representing victims of domestic abuse, sexual abuse, and other vulnerable populations. And so, believe me, I understand completely. And actually, fairly recently, I've kind of shifted gears a little bit so that doing some other things and actually working towards not practicing in large part for that reason, because it takes quite a toll.
Yeah, it does. And you're, and it's hard because you're doing the right thing. You're doing something that's good, and so you try to stick it out, and this, and you try to stick it out because you're doing a good thing. But after a while, how good of a job can you do when you're just so beat up from having to endure that story after story and feelings after feelings, and they're very, very strong negative feelings that they carry with them. And believe me, I understand why. I mean, I don't blame them for it. But it's like, you really got to be able to detach yourself, and it's really difficult for empaths to do it totally effectively. And so, I can understand what you're saying. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard.
Especially long term. As you said, you can do at times or in spurts, but when you're doing it all the time, all day long, it really does wear on you. And I'm kind of like you, even though I kind of figured out that I was an empath by that point, it still was a matter, you're not connecting the two.
Yeah, exactly. You don't realize it's in your work as well. That's where it's really hitting you.
Exactly. And so, and I noticed one thing too, and with my team, that we fairly frequently over the years have had people end up coming to us with a teenage child who basically is, it turns out, starting to have experiences, and basically they're sensitive, and it's just becoming to the point where they can't ignore it, and they're having a hard time dealing with it. And we've worked with a number of kids that age to learn to cope with it a little better. And that's one thing I'm glad that can do, because I know as I went through it, no one around me talked about it. My mother was sensitive, but she ignored it and repressed it. And so, I just finally figured out, okay, I just made the decision. I don't think I'm crazy, so this is what's happening.
Right, exactly. And I'm going to tell you what, you ignore this thing at your own peril. I mean, I understand that, my mother would be somebody who would ignore it too. I mean, she's not sensitive, but she would do that. And I tell lots of people I talk to, I mean, that's well and good that, people don't, are scared of it or don't want you to be that way. But if you if you repress any skill, any talent, it's going to come back and bite you. Because, especially if it's a spiritual talent, because it's not going anywhere. And it's just going to build up inside you, and it's going to cause, whenever we press things, the energy shifts to someplace else, and it could be damaging to you inside, or mentally, emotionally, or even physically. And so I always tell people, you need to do that. Okay, you don't have to sit and do readings for people or anything like that, but you need to learn how to protect yourself, and you need to, use your gift to help yourself. And if you can help other people in some way, but, you don't have to become a professional psychic or anything like that, but you need to nurture, and you need to be able to learn how to deal with it.
Well, I think more than anything, I think the hardest part for people is just accepting that they're normal and that this is a normal sense, like hearing or sight. And just to accept it on those terms. And, you know, I got to the point where I view it as if other people are not tuned into that ability, to be honest, that's an advantage for me because I have information they don't. But
yeah, that's true.
And but you have to be able to accept that and just and not worry about there's something wrong with me or
Right.
that kind of thing. It's just something that's there, and learn to ignore the rest of the world who doesn't understand it.
Right.
So,
that's right.
What made you go from the leap of being an empath, taking on all of the energy from these kids that have been through tragic things, to being a professional with it?
It takes lots of work.
Yes.
You know, it just does. I cannot impress upon people that there's nothing special about me. You know, what I do is, like you said earlier, it's just a natural thing. Like anything, you've got to work on it. You know, I play bass guitar, and I don't play enough of it to be very, very good at it. I mean, I'm competent enough to jam, and that's about it, or play some simple stuff. But this is like anything else. You've got to work at it, and you've got to build up your strength in it. It's like, you know, it's like a exercise program almost. I mean, it's a psychic exercise program, and because you're not just dealing with your abilities to feel and whatnot, but you're also dealing with energies. Especially when you start working with shamanism, and also, but in empath work. I mean, the more you do these things, the more power there is available for you to use. You let the power use you, so to speak, because it's the power of spirit. And so you're not really calling the shots. You let it call the shots. But it's just getting the point. You know, the biggest thing is coming to the point where you trust yourself.
Exactly, and I say that all the time to people.
Yeah, you know, you've got to trust yourself, and that's what takes the longest. You know, I've got lots of shamanic training, psychic training, all that kind of stuff, and I worked hard at it. But until I really trusted myself and believed in what my connection with spirit really was, and what I was supposed to do with it. You know, I was just, you know, a Padawan, just a learner, and that was cool, you know. But I started with little things like I do readings for people, and at the coffee houses and stuff like that. And then I was working on my shamanism. I would do stuff like that, which is good stuff to do. But then I started doing more and more stuff, more shamanic work, like healing work and spiritual advisement with the shamanism and the psychic mixed together, so to speak. And then, you know, teaching other people and that sort of thing, and then, you know, going on into helping to protect others spiritually, you know, against negative things, and then going into paranormal investigating, you know, along with all that. But it all came down to, and it's not an ego thing. Like, I'm big and bad, and I'm the king of the jungle, that kind of crap.
No.
It's just like saying, it's like, I accept this, and I will use this to the best of my ability to help other people. If it gets off you, I can do this because spirit lets me do it.
Exactly.
Because I can, you know, I have worked and I have accepted, and it's not about me. It's about, once you get off the ego part of it, and everybody's got the ego part of it.
Oh yeah.
And it's usually, it's like I'm tough. It's like, well, I don't think so. That's ego both ways, you know, positive and negative. It's not about either one of those. It's about, okay, you know, I give up. I can, you know, I work for spirit, and that's it. And that's how it rolls. That's how it rolls for me.
Well, and that's a good way to put it, I think. I always look at, you know, that it's basically you end up just you're a conduit. and people get certain perceptions of that, channeling, etc., and sometimes people do channel, etc., but it's just, just the conduit that the information comes through, and you just have to shed yourself of that. But why am I thinking this, or where's this coming from? I must be crazy. And
Right.
I do think that there's a number of, particularly kids, who end up being mislabeled because they're too trusting in the beginning in telling what is happening, and they aren't around people who are open-minded enough to accept it.
Yeah.
And they get, they run them to a psychiatrist or someone. They end up on medication and labeled schizophrenic, etc. And and you really wonder how many sensitive kids end up in that situation because they were too honest in the beginning. And I hate to say that because it makes it sound like you're advocating not being honest, but you have to figure out who's like-minded and who can accept what you have to say too.
Yeah, it's hard. I looked at mental health law. It's hard to sit through that. I mean, I believe in schizophrenia.
I
I've
do
just
too.
seen it.
Me
But
too.
yes, I mean, you get these kids that they can't explain, and there's not enough trained psychiatrists out there anyway. I mean, it is very difficult to find psychiatrists in some areas, especially one who has any type of training in the spiritual fields, in these fields of metaphysics or spirituality or shamanism, things like that. I mean, if you're on if you live in a culture, like if you're on one of the reservations or something like that, it's much easier. They're more likely to accept that. Whereas, in a lot of other places, like, you pull out the DSM-5 and start diagnosing away.
Exactly.
That's the mental health code book there. But yeah, I mean, and that's how it is. And they start, the kids. I mean, I know a couple of young adults who were like that, and who had got pegged early and weren't really that. Now they were a little bit eccentric. I mean, they were different, but I didn't believe that they were schizophrenic or bipolar necessarily. That it's so confusing. The kids who can't suppress it. I think that's what happens to some of those other kids, that they can't deal with it that way. They can't suppress it or repress it.
Right.
And they end up talking about it, and they get labeled.
Well, exactly.
So it's real possible.
And because, and it depends on who they end up talking to and the perspective point of view of that person. And, that makes it hard because, a lot of kids, aren't good at figuring that out, especially in the beginning. And
right.
Yeah, I've seen a couple that have struggled with that too, and those are things that you don't hear a lot about when these subjects of empaths and sensitives are discussed. That
right.
That struggle in the beginning, or those that maybe never figure it out. I mean, it's I can remember. We do, of course, we do public events and tours and fundraising for historic buildings and so forth. And I remember a few years ago, we were doing one at a very haunted site down here, and it's very haunted, and it was a site of intense explosion and just one of the most gruesome deaths I've ever heard of as a result. And that spirit's still there and seen there. And we're doing a public tour, and we're going through the area where the explosion happened. And a fellow that's on the tour, I mean, you just start watching him, and one of team members who's also a sensitive just kind of leaned over and nudged me and said, "Watch the guy in the flannel shirt. He's a sensitive." And you could tell it, and it's like you could just, that it really hit him there, almost how you were describing your experience at the powwow. And
Uh-huh.
so during a break, I kind of outside, I kind of talked to him and everything, and before it's over with, he ended up being an investigator and uh, works, um, does readings and so forth. But
Uh-huh.
he had he knew he had something, but the pieces didn't fall into place until that night, and it kind of took us kind of giving him the nudge and saying, "Hey, have you had these experiences, that kind of thing, for the light bulb to go off?" And
Yeah.
he was in his late 30s, so.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, age makes no difference. Is whenever the veil gets lifted from your eyes, and all of a sudden, oh,
Uh-huh.
you always get that little feeling, I think, in the back of your mind that something's not quite right,
Mhm.
that you're different, but you can't really put your finger on it. And then there's a moment like that, and you hit one of those spots in a haunted area or something like that, where it's like, oh, you walked in one of those. I don't know. I call them scars. Sometimes these places where there's been some sort of real psychic disturbance, and there's a lot of strong energy there, and all of a sudden the eyes just kind of like bug out, and they just kind of like stop and almost shake, and
Mhm.
that's when you got to kind of intervene a little bit. Say, okay, I know exactly what you're feeling. Let's talk.
Yep.
And oh yeah, I've had that happen before, and but I used to give them the Obi-Wan Kenobi, you must learn the ways of the Force, something like that. And so, yeah, I try to lighten it up a little bit. And
old
so,
old Jedi mind trick.
yeah, that's right. And, if I talk to people in groups and things and they get that total look on their face, I say, well, think of the Force in Star Wars. And oh, yeah, okay.
Mhm.
It's such a good cultural reference. I'm never scared to use that.
No, it makes a lot of sense, and it's a reference that people can relate to, even if
Yeah.
they haven't had the experience themselves. So.
Oh, exactly, and it does. I mean, that's how it works. I mean, in a
Uh-huh.
very basic sense, is that but then of course, in the East they call it chi. All these
Mhm.
things, that's energy that goes to things, and that's where Lucas got that. George Lucas got that from, I'm sure.
Mhm.
And so, but it's like that. It gives people, you are playing with energy is what you're doing, because when you're reading some off of somebody or anything, your energy is mingling with that person's energy or that place's energy. I mean, that a
Mhm.
lot of times it's energy of place, not necessarily spirit.
True.
Although excessive dose can also, but that's what you're doing. You're exchanging energy in outside of your body and whatever body unit you're in contact with. And that's how you read it. And that's why it's so difficult. It's hard for some people because they feel their energy out there, and all of a sudden they get hold of something that's real difficult to get away from sometimes. It's
Mhm.
hard if you're not trained. But I'm kind of flying out there. But to me, it is. I mean, everybody's got energy, and shamanism. That's what you're doing. You're working with the spirits. And we're bringing that energy from the earth or from the sky, and use it for healing, whatever spirit direction to use it. But that's what it is. I mean, you've got all this energy on it there, and that's what you're doing. You're interacting with energy. Or ghost hunting, you're looking for energy,
Mhm.
and that's what the spirits are. That's what and you probably see them. Sometimes there's not a spirit there. If you go like to a spot where there's been a suicide or a death, to me, it always leaves like a psychic scar there.
Mhm.
I'm not sure there's still a spirit there, but you can feel it. There was a place I went to. It's an old hotel. It's a mall. It's like a shopping mall now. It's a real old place. It's in Alton, Illinois, next town from where I live.
Uh-huh.
And we did an investigation there. And there's an old pool downstairs. Now 3 people drowned in that pool. So I'm walking around. It's empty now. It's not used for that anymore. But so I'm walking around. Hit this one spot. Real strong energy. All I can feel and see in my mind is trying to fight to the surface
Yep.
of the water and not being able to make it.
Mhm.
And that was that spot where somebody drowned. And people hit those spots, and it's like, whoa! And you really got to be, keep an eye on. Like you guys, your sensor did a good job to point him out. Say, hey, watch this guy. He just hit that. He just got the idea. He just hit one of those spots where
Mhm.
it's got him now. And it's cool, but you got to watch out for people.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, and we always try to have at least a couple sensitives, on site when we have public events, because for those situations, because it's happened enough that uh, you know
Mm-hmm.
people sometimes even absolutely had no idea that anything they'd ever had any unusual activity, and that always gets me. But it's definitely energy, and I always describe it to people that I think it's a function of time and space, and sometimes I really think that a lot of activity and even interaction that's intelligent, I have to wonder if we basically, on a quantum physics level, that 2 points in time are bumping up against each other.
That's interesting, yeah. And that's a real good theory. I like that theory because we see things linearly moving in a straight line, and it's not like that. There's other timelines. I've no doubt of that. And yeah, I'm not sure that they don't collide sometimes. There's a reason why people think that Halloween is the thing of the veils. It's been like that for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think there are times when the veil certainly feels clear to me, because I can sort of sense things a lot more.
Same here, and I know someone that, and I know several people. One particular that can, step sideways in the veil, and literally, people don't see him anymore. And it's just one of those things. It is a function of energies, and sometimes it is place, sometimes it's spirit in that place, or I almost, as I said, it's like replaying, 2 moments are touching, so that it's almost like you're seeing a movie of that moment, or hearing it, or both sometimes. But it reminds me, we're at a Civil War mansion up by the Missouri River once, and the caretakers of the house kept talking about, it was involved in a battle in the Civil War, and kept talking about, there were executions that happened in the house during the battle, and everyone knew that. And they kept saying they happened up on the second floor landing. And, it was like I and another sensitive that was there, we both kept walking through, and it's like, I don't feel anything there. But, man, as soon as I walked through the foyer downstairs, I'm going through that tunnel of frenzied energy, and it's like, I kept looking at him and he looking at me, and I said, I don't know about you, but I think whatever happened here, not upstairs. And then later was able to find the historic sources to verify that we were right, and they actually were under misconception and telling the history wrong. And so, and it wasn't that I think there was a spirit there, but that energy was there. It was almost like a vortex walking through it.
Yeah.
And
I think it's real strong there. It could be a vortex. Vortexes are so cool, and they can just do the strangest things.
Oh, yeah.
And
I wasn't meaning literally there, but it was so frenzied, it almost gave you that sensation. It's just like almost like the whole hallway was spinning. But I really don't think it was a vortex, but it was just the energy was so strong that it was enough that later I said, I've got to go find out, because what they're saying doesn't make sense with what the energy was doing.
Right. And I think there's an action like that causes so much trauma, emotionally and physically, all these things like this. It just causes an area that just keep vibrating throughout the ages, and those are strange spots. Like I said, suicide spots are like that. I've found they linger like that. But that's cool stuff.
Hey, Chris, one thing I think that when people, start, when they're talking about being interested in, say, readings or learning, and when the subject of shamanism comes up, I think a lot of people are a little intimidated because it has such a mysterious image, and, of course, goes back thousands of years all around the world in various forms. How would you suggest that they approach, either if they're wanting to learn or seek out a practitioner for advice?
Well, usually, the one thing, people who practice shamanism are just normal people, and always remember that. At least I like to see it, say that I am, and I believe that I am just a regular person. But there are ways to find them. I guess there's actually online sites that tell you, and I'm on a couple of those where you can find a shaman that way, a teaching shaman or a working shaman or both. A working shaman be somebody who would do healing work for you or that type of thing. Or they could do some. It just depends on what each shaman does. Some people do different things. You just have to kind of check out with the person. If you ever approach a shaman or a medicine person for teaching, you should always take them a gift, like a bag of tobacco. That's something like that. Just to, it's a sign of respect, and that's especially if you want to be like an apprentice or something like that. You would always initially take that person a gift and ask that something that you would like some teachings or something like that. That's how I would do it. At least that's how I was taught. I was initially taught in the Sioux Lakota tradition, play the pipe, and then after that, I'm in the Sioux medicine tradition, which is northwest coast of the U.S. and Canada, up there, up there in Seattle, British Columbia area. That's where this medicine tradition comes from. But yeah, that seems to be the common thing. Is you take them something to ask, their permission, to sign respect. If you're going to ask for some healing or something like that, you would call them and say, okay, what do you need? And some people charge X amount of dollars. Some people say, whatever you can afford, or bring me some groceries. It just depends on the person. Totally 100%. But shamans are here to serve. They're not here to intimidate. They're not here to to scare people. Their job is to, if they're truly being who they are. There are some people out there claiming to be, shamanic teachers that may know some shamanism, but they're using it to make money.
Right.
And they are very much looked down upon in the community. Shaman is what they're called. But yeah, they will, like the guy in Arizona who had 103 people in a sweat lodge with 3 or 4 of them, suffocated to death.
Right.
That kind of crap.
I remember that.
Was charging like $9,000, something ridiculous amount of money people were paying to go see this guy. And that guy wasn't a shaman. I don't know what he was, but
charlatan, that's what he was.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what he was. Somebody with a good rap that sounds convincing and knows a few things that you can read out of a book, and that type of thing. And most of the people that practice shamanism I know, you never know it. Most of the time, they look like everybody else. It's just what they do. They might act a little odd. I mean, I suppose I act a little odd sometimes because my family tells me I do, and that's probably pretty valid. I tend to,
just
kind of drift away sometimes.
Yeah,
and,
for the fact that we do what we do, yeah.
Yeah, you do, and it's like, okay. But, so, it's not, it's funny, it's like, when you really need one, I always tell people, you could, what some people might call praying, or pray out to the universe that you would like to find a shaman. And a lot of times you'll run into one somehow. But, you put yourself in places where you might find something like that. That's how I learned so much and found so many of the teachers I had, is that I purposely put myself in places where I might meet people like that. Going to ceremonies, going to powwows. I went to a Native American conference in northwestern Illinois one time, and to see this one guy who'd written a book that I really liked, I ended up meeting 2 other people that became teachers of mine for different things. And it's like the old saying, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And that's basically how it works. They pop out of nowhere. There's not a ton of people out there practice, though. And some people are into helping other people. Some Native people are just into helping Native people. That's cool. I mean, everybody's got their own thing going. And you have to do what Spirit tells you is best. And so you go from that premise. But we're out there. I mean, here and there, and like we pop up when you need us, I guess. A friend of mine says, he read somewhere that shaman or people live on the edge of town. Nobody pays any attention to till they really need them. And that seems to be the case. So, I get one of those calls every once in a while. Okay. But I'm lucky. I have a nice little shop and raid shop down in Alton. and they're really good people. And so I do classes there and things like that, and people come to listen and learn. I'm not much on teaching individuals right now. I'm too busy to have a student, because I do my shaman work. I mean, my paranormal work is actually part extension of my shaman work.
Right.
And so that's where I started. And so when I do that, I do it for that reason. Although I do the investigation too. I got little gadgets that I use and whatnot. But basically my role is to make sure everybody stays safe. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes I meet a lot of people who needed to talk to me. And I had this last weekend. We had an event at the Florida School up in Iowa, which is a really cool place out there. If you want to get up there, it's a neat place to go to. Nice people run it.
Cool.
Jim and Nancy Oliver, and then the caretakers are Will and Jacqueline. And they all do a great job up there. We had a real nice time. Me and Wes Forsythe and Elizabeth Saint from Ghost of Shepherdstown were up there. Mm-hmm. And it was really cool. But some guy was there and just starting to get into his native. He just found out he was part Native American, and had so many questions about that stuff. And here, it wasn't that type of event, but that's what we ended up talking about a lot of the time. Talking to this guy about, what he could do and things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, to me, communicating with spirits is what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And so, whether it's spirit guides and spirit animals or spirits of the deceased, and, that's why I do that. So, it's, I forgot his original question was. Oh yeah, where can you find a shaman? It's like to say, well, you never know where you find us. But yeah, but there, if you look like you can Google like shaman, mm-hmm. Find a shaman or something like that, and there's some lists out there that, I mean, there's one pretty good. I forget the name of it though. And it's got the listing of shamans in each state that they've responded to that thing, and so there's people in every state. So we're out there someplace.
Well, and I think for a lot of people, it's just getting over that sense that shamanism is something so otherworldly that they're not sure.
Oh yeah.
It's a psychological step.
They show these pictures of these really whacked out looking guys,
Yeah.
And there's I was reading about this one shaman who was out in Siberia or somewhere out in there, and he gave himself in the shamanic state to where he was go and travel to the spirit world. He hit himself in the leg with an axe.
Oh my!
I don't know. His legs have been pretty messed up, I would think. But that, and they're all crazy looking, crazy looking eyes and stuff like that. And those are the favorite pictures people like to show. Or that's a very noble looking person that looks so strong, and you'd be afraid to approach him. And most of the guys I knew wore T-shirts and stuff like that. Didn't wear. I knew one guy. He was actually he'd been the student of Frank Fulscrow, and Frank Fulscrow is kind of a hero of mine. I never got to meet him because he died before I got into this stuff, really. But I knew some of the people that taught him, including this one guy, Jim Callahan. And, he's just one of these people that you see pictures of Fulscrow, and mm-hmm. He's always just wearing regular stuff. Now, if he went to ceremony or something like that, he might wear his headdress or stuff like that. He always looked like anybody else. And this is my friend Jim. Jim was actually the carrier of Sitting Bull's actual pipe, ceremonial holy pipe.
Oh, wow.
And very knowledgeable man. I got to spend time with him. If he died of cancer in the mid-2000s, I got to go to his house once or twice and spend other time with him. And I got to smoke Sitting Bull's pipe. And Jim was just, a regular guy. I mean, there was some guy you'd meet on the street. Mm-hmm. Just a brilliant. I mean, he was really good at what he did, and just a wonderful keeper. I mean, the guy spoke fluent Lakota because he worked for the state of South Dakota, and that's how he got to know all the tribal people down there, up there from me. But he just followed his path, and he'd gotten cancer when he was in his 30s, and was sent home to die, or they told him he was going to die. When the medicine man came to the hospital and said, "Jim, this is going to be a tough one. This is going to take us a full 4 days." And they worked for 4 days. They did their medicine work for 4 days, and he walked away cancer free.
Oh wow!
And it got him back in his late, it was in his later 60s when he finally died from it. But, I gave him 30-something more years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, I know a couple people like that they were healed. They were told they were dead men. And one of my teachers from the Northwest Coast, Johnny Moses, was told he was going to die when he was 13. They sent him home, so they went to the longhouse, and he did the traditional medicine, and he's still kicking today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, these miraculous things happen and whatnot. And you hear some of these stories, but you meet these guys, and it's like, most of them, I guess, they're just regular dudes. Unless you see them in ceremony, then it can be different. And if you see me, if I'm doing healing work or something, I'm doing some real serious work, I look different than what I normally do. And I look, not only just what I wear. I don't have regalia, but I wear other stuff. That signifies what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a whole different place. And by the time I'm doing that, you know who I am, and you're trusting, and I'm not going to do anything crazy or anything like that. But I probably look pretty nuts.
Oh, I understand that. I'm certainly, I'm not a shaman or anything, but I've certainly had times that I've been far enough across the veil that I'm sure I looked crazy too. So.
Oh yeah, and what's funny, and I'm almost embarrassed about this when I say this, and I think you can probably relate this, having done this. You've ever watched Dead Files before?
Oh yeah.
With Amy Allen, Steve Shabby. Now my wife used to watch that show, and I just never, I do that stuff. What do I need to watch these shows for?
Right.
Now, I watch Ghost Hunters. I always say I like Ghost Hunters and some of these other ones, but I just didn't watch them as a matter of regularly, I should say.
Right.
And so she was watching. I'm looking at it. I said, God, the woman's making those crazy faces. Goodness gracious, I'm like, that's stupid. Well, I stopped and thought about it. How do you look when you're doing that? And I thought to myself, ugh. Well, I think that looked like that, but I know when my eyes roll back in my head, and I tend to sway back and forth when I'm doing those things, and so I probably don't look any different. So I should probably reserve judgment from anybody else after what I look like.
Yeah.
And she's so cool anyway. I've met Amy a couple times, and she's just a neat person. So she's legit, 100% legit.
Someone that I work with at times is definitely that way, that he doesn't realize when spirit's taking over, but I can just watch and tell, and it just happens.
It does, and it's like you're there, and you just got to ride it out until I'm in pretty much control. I just don't go and not say when I come back. Oh, I get the tendency. I almost lifted off not too long ago. I would have got back, but I was really into a place, and there's some negative connotations to what was going on where I was at, and I was really seeing some good stuff and feeling some good stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're starting to drift.
Yep.
Get your anchor out and put it down, because you never know. You might be gone for a long time and not know it.
That's
and
true.
Come back a week later, So it felt like 5 minutes to you. It's been a week in this world, and so you don't want to do that.
And I've seen that happen in a couple places to people with time distortion and in both directions, either where they thought it was a very long time and it was a short time, or vice versa. And in one place in particular where that happens, and there's a combination of things there, the history plus slave voodoo plus native.
Oh, I want to go.
That.
Where is it?
Actually, in Carthage, Missouri.
Really?
Yeah, it's the Kendrick House. We're actually where Selena ended up at. It's one of my favorites. It just,
oh man!
All these things converge, and some very, very interesting things can happen at times.
I want to go, Lisa. We got to set up something for next year, Lisa.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to have you down, because it's one of those places that is just amazing. I worked with John Zaffis a few years ago, and he was down here, and I ended up brokering a purchase for him for his museum, and he we got that taken care of, and he just looks at me and he goes, "What's the most haunted house around here?" And I'm on the board of directors there, so I just take him there, and he didn't know anything about it, not name, nothing, and as soon as we pull in the driveway, I could just, you could just see him tense, and I just opened the door, let him walk through, and I walked upstairs, and as he finally came upstairs, he just kind of looked at me and said, "What the hell happened here?" And then he stood upstairs for a little bit, and it was January, and the heat was turned down. It was like 50 in the house, and just enough so the pipes don't freeze. And he breaks out in a sweat, just sweat pouring, and just looks at me and starts telling me things that are not even out there. They're just known privately, and with details that were just amazing. And he was on the podcast with us a couple years ago and brought it up and said that it's one of the most active places he's ever been.
Oh yes,
yeah,
yes. If John said that, then John's good people. So
yeah, and he talked about it at the end, and it was just very impressive that extremely active, and he was very impressed with what happened there. So yes, we definitely need you down here.
Definitely, we'll make some event down there. We'll make something happen.
Oh yeah,
I can't wait to see something like that. Should I see? Yeah, I really wanted to come. One reason I was so overbooked for all these months, and that it was like I couldn't. I would have worn myself out. I had to get a couple things. I knew. Plus, I knew Selena had set stuff up. And I wanted her to have a decent payday out of it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so that's like, I told Selena, I said, I think you deserve, you take this one up, because it's just, it's like it'd be a 5.5 hour drive for me just for a little bit. And so it's like, plus I'm going to be worn out. But yeah, definitely, this is, because I wanted to come down, I really did now. But now I will come down because I hear this.
Yeah.
So we'll work up an event, and because Selena and I were in that one group, and that we were both represented by the same people. And they folded up, and that just kind of threw things into a big mess.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate.
Yeah, and those things happen. I don't blame anybody in the organization. Like, yeah, those that's how it goes. And I'm actually doing pretty well, putting some of my own stuff together. So,
cool.
And so it's working out okay, and I can just go when I want to go. I'm too old to be traveling all these weekends.
Well, that's what gets with me too, is that I'll kind of get in a roll and then have too many, and then I've got to back off. And of course, it's always at that point that everyone starts contacting. When you guys doing something? When and it's like,
exactly.
Sorry, they got to step back for a minute.
Oh no. I don't mind doing it locally. That's not so bad. It's even that; those can stack up too.
Yeah.
But when you're driving 4 and 5 hours, that's when it starts wearing on you.
Oh, I agree.
Type of stuff.
Yeah, it's just hard, especially when you're you have jobs on top of doing this.
Yeah, exactly. I work 7:30 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. So I mean. Yeah, you got that to deal with. That's where you make your money at doing that.
Exactly.
Things you make some money, that's gravy, but you usually don't make very much.
And I think that's one thing people don't realize too, that when you're doing things like this, it's almost like a second full-time job.
Yeah.
And
definitely it is. It can be.
Oh yeah, but it's of course it's a labor of love too. So.
It is, and it becomes a labor of love and spiritual callings and all sorts of stuff, and so here you are. Something like Captain, where I can retire and maybe do this and and whatnot, but it's going to be a few years, I think.
I hear you.
Be a few years. Well, I'll be 60 next year, so I mean, here I'm showing my age, but yeah, so I'm getting closer.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of it depends on so many different things, I'm a pretty young 59, so it doesn't. I'm not really thinking about retiring anytime real soon.
No, I'm kind of the same way. I figure that I'll retire when I have to, but
Yeah.
I'm not one to say, I'm going to sit down and be in the rocking chair type thing. No.
No, goodness, no. We've done. My father was a teacher. He retired at 68. He substitute taught till he was 82.
Oh, wow.
And died at 91. And so, yeah. So, yeah, like, I got time. Yeah, because both sides of my family are very long lived. So, as long as I don't, pick on my liver or something like that, I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Yeah, that long life seems to follow the family. So I try not to jinx myself with what I do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, try to do stuff in measure. That is very true.
Now, this is something I think that, of course, people get sort of, they get interested in, kind of fixate in, partly from shows and media, is sort of the negative aspects of the spirit world.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to people who are encountering something they believe is negative, or we'll throw out the big D word, demonic, but which of
yeah.
I try to always tell people it's not nearly as common as portrayed.
No doubt. I mean, if it was, if you watch TV long enough, you figure that all the pits in hell are empty and they're all up here someplace.
Exactly.
Hanging out in vacant warehouses. Yes, that's where the minions of Satan should be. Is hanging around in a vacant warehouse.
That's right.
Oh gosh, it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But people watch TV, and that's a big thing. Cause they read the parts of the Bible talk about demons and fixate on that sort of thing. And I've gotten those a few times, more than once. I always say, if they ask me about it, I said, why don't you let me go out and check it out?
Mm-hmm.
And I will do that, and then if I feel something negative there or something, I'll see what I can do about it. I mean, there are different things I can do. I'm not one for banishing. Other people talk about portaling people. I'm going to open the portal for you. Yeah, maybe they can do that, but I just say, why don't you check it out, or at least leave these folks alone. That's kind of the deal I make.
Mm-hmm.
And quit leaving people. A lot of times it's just some energy and some other type of negative stuff hanging around, and so I do house cleansings and things like that, and inside and outside the house to try to protect it. And because they can be on some negative areas. I went to a lady's house one time. She was having all kinds of problems sleeping. It wasn't so much spirits. It was like, just the energy of the place is really, really wild and stuff like that. I get out there, and the lady's half of her house is in a vortex.
Oh my!
Literally, and I could feel. I said, "How do you sleep?" I mean, because on my hair, I got hair standing up on end in my arms and stuff like that. It's like electricity's going through me. I said, "This is amazing." And she goes, "Well, that's what it is." I said, "Yeah, she and her husband ended up moving, and thankfully, and so they live, for a piece away from there." But I tell people to contact somebody that can come out and check it out, and know what they're doing, whether it's a paranormal team or a psychic or a shaman or a wizard. There's a witch or something like that. Some of them are pretty good at that sort of thing. And I check it out. Now, a lot of times I've had people say, things have touched them inappropriately, sexually, things like that. And I had a rash of those for a while. And you sit and talk with them.
Well, that's because they watch certain episodes of certain shows.
Yes, that is very true, and you'll find out they are watching those shows. But also, you sit and talk with them for a while, and you say, and I was in the business for a long time, and still am doing mental health type of stuff. I said, okay, when were you abused? Look at you and say, when I was 17, or whatever. And so many times it turns out they have been abused themselves, and so this. Could there be a spirit there that's taking advantage of that? That's possible. It's not likely. A friend of mine, her name's Anna. She was out in California. She calls those personal hauntings, and she says they're the biggest pain in the ass. And I agree with her because you're never quite sure. You might feel something little, but nothing that's capable of, or it feels like somebody that would be doing something like what they're talking about.
Right.
And so I always tell them that in those situations, like sometimes these spirits are attracted to people who are in trauma or were traumatized in the past. if you go to counseling and work this out, then not only will you feel better inside, but it'll likely make these spirits won't be attracted to you anymore. And there's some validity to that, because I think the spirits, negative spirits are attracted to negative things. You got a house full of people that are pissed off all the time, or there's conflict. And, I've walked in houses where there's been holes punched in the wall, so I can figure out what's going on here. You guys need to calm it down, because you're just attracting negative spirits because they're just eating that up.
Right.
And it just depends on the situation. I mean, I'm lucky I've been trained in mental health, and so I can kind of cut through the shit pretty fast. Here I'm getting, I must be getting late, so I'm swearing more, but
it's okay. It's just the internet.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just, there's so many different ways to go about it. I mean, you got to assess who you have, do your investigation. In my case, I might use I use a millimeter, a K2, or stuff like that sometimes, or an EVP. But I trust my feelings on that type of stuff. If I'm feeling something, I'll go after it, and try to get it out of there. If I don't, I'll still do house cleansing, because that still helps, and then counsel them on what to do next, and that type of thing. I mean, you walk into all kinds of situations. I went to this guy's house one time. It's a little house, and it kind of like white tar paper shingle on it, And it had a line of black, this messy looking black all around the house. I said, "Man, what's that?" He goes, and he swore the demons were after him. He goes, "Yeah, this witch came by and she told me to put mortar oil around the outside of my house to keep them out." Oh my God. I said, "No, I don't think that's going to help." And you see stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just kind of breaks your heart, because you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so, after I sat with that guy for a while, I got things pretty well squared up. Nothing I could do really much I could do for him, because he just wasn't going to let go of it. And so I mean, it's just the house was all a mess, because they were hoarders, and I couldn't get to anything. And clean it anyway. So I told him, I said, "Man, you clean your house up, I'll be happy to come back and do a cleansing on it." And I see him every once in a while, but he's hanging on to it, Well, and people will do that. They don't mind sometimes. They like the drama.
They like the drama, and there are those that they want a haunting, and usually the ones that really want something that is scary or dangerous, and sometimes they invite it in. One thing that I know some people kind of disagree, or some I've had actually get upset, but my experience is that, particularly with if you actually have an active haunting with a human spirit, you're not. It's going to be an agreement with the spirit that they're leaving. That and I've run into investigators and other sensitives too that swear, "Oh no, I can get rid of anything," and it's like, I'm sorry, but it doesn't work that way. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, now I can muster up enough energy to force something away.
Well, again, it's at that point they make that decision.
Exactly. Now there it is, and it's like inviting a vampire into your house.
Yeah.
Once you've invited them in, you play hell getting them out.
Well, yeah,
I do because you're right. They've made that pact. I might be able to get to go and screw it away for a while by going in there and doing a cleansing or whatnot, but that's going to come right back.
Exactly. And
unless they kick them out.
And that, it amazes me how many people even in the field don't seem to grasp that, and sometimes I think they end up making things worse for people because they don't understand that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me, and that's probably a good way to look at that. But you're right, because these people have, and I've always kind of felt that way. It's like, you kind of asked for this. So, I'll show you what to do. And that's one thing I always do, though. And I might do a cleansing, and that might help for a while. But like I said, the spirit's invited in. I show them how to do it. Right. I said, this is what you do. You become assertive. You tell it no more. I want you out, and you mean it, and you use your smudge, use your other stuff that I give you, do it the way I showed you how to do it, and you can get rid of them. But it's going to be up to you.
Mm-hmm.
I showed you how to do it. I did it. But they're going to come back if you okayed them coming in. So I teach them how to fish instead of coming back and feeding them.
Well, and
you know what I'm saying?
I try to do that too, and that's the best way to be, I think.
No, I agree.
Because, well, it doesn't help them in the end if me or you or someone like us is having to go out there every few months.
Oh, I know it. It doesn't. I mean, you get tired of doing that stuff. It's like, no.
Exactly.
You take responsibility for it. And most people out there say that. I mean, this is, unless you charge them $100 every time they come out and you're making that kind of money, I don't charge people. I mean, if I have to drive a while, I'll ask for gas money.
Right.
That's all I ever ask for.
Exactly.
Other than that, I'm not coming out there every month. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. And I'll show they always come with me when I do the cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
I show them how I do it, exactly what to do, the whole house and outside, and here it is. That you guys have been through the whole thing. If I got extra sage, I'll leave them that. One family left them some holy water that they want to use holy water instead. There you go.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do it again. You've been taught.
I think that's something that doesn't always get stressed with a lot of people, and I think that's a great way to approach it, and what I know my team tries to do as well. We're kind of we've had a good conversation. We're kind of getting to the end of the show. Chris, can you tell everybody how they can get a hold of you if they have questions or are interested, even to find out resources, that kind of thing, and what you're up to?
Well, I'm always happy to answer questions on through email and stuff like that. I like doing it, so don't ever feel like you can't contact me. But my email address is coyotechris1957@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at CoyoteChrisS. And it's also the same on Instagram. On Facebook, my personal page is Christopher Sutton, and my what people call them white pages or whatever, that's Coyote Chris Sutton. You can catch me on those places there. I do have some things coming up I'd like to share with everybody.
Sure.
Let's see, in 2 weeks, only 2 weeks away, I will be in Lexington, Kentucky at the Scarefest Paranormal Convention.
Okay.
This will be my fourth one, and I just love going to these things. I will be speaking there this year, talking about the shaman and the dead, which is about shamanism and how people who are paranormal investigators can use some of the things that people who practice shamanism can do. And also I'll be at the Scarefest. I'm one of the co-hosts on Scarefest Radio with Les Forsyth, and we have a show every week about people coming to Scarefest and interview some really neat people. So I will be at the Scarefest Radio booth. We're on Paranormal Stars Row, and let's see, Jason Hawes is coming this year, Tango, and
very cool.
Stephen Salves, Elizabeth Saint, we were just up with, and from Joseph Shepherdstown. We were just up at Farrar School with Elizabeth, and she is a wonderful person, by the way. If you've ever watched Ghost of Shepherdstown, she's a real sweetie.
Yeah, I caught it a little bit.
Yeah, she's a real neat person. And we spent like a couple of days all together, and Wes and she and I and my wife, and we had a wonderful time just bumming around and going to went to an old house, and it's like an old castle up there in Des Moines, and called the Salisbury House, and it's you can walk through it. I mean, they don't have like ghost tours and stuff like that, but my wife had snuck a millimeter in her purse, and we're walking around trying to look for stuff and feeling things and stuff like that. We found one spirit up there because Elizabeth and I are all sensitives of some sort, and then my wife's got her thing going, and it was a good time. And she's really good people. But let's see, Brian Kano is going to be there from the Honda Explorer. We were just talking about John Zappas, and Brian's a really cool guy. It's the second convention I've been with Brian at, and just a real down-to-earth guy, always fun to talk to. Let's see who else is coming from Paranormal. We got Chip Coffee's going to be there.
I love Chip.
Oh yeah, Chip's a good guy. And there's other people there too. I'm not thinking right off the top of my head. But like I said, you got the guys from Ghost Hunters and Elizabeth, and it'll be a lot of fun. It's always a good time if you can make it down there. Um, in October, I'm going to be at the Paranormal History Museum. I'm sorry, not the Paranormal History Museum, the Lost History Museum. It's in Valley Mines, Missouri. A little place it's actually a little bit north of Farmington. Lisa, if you know anything about that area, it's
A little bit.
down. Yeah, it's off Highway 67. It's about 45 minutes south of St. Louis. And they've got an old house there. It's built in 1749. It's the second oldest house in the west of the Mississippi.
Oh, cool.
And it's got a slave quarters in the back. They've got like a paymaster house, and they've got a couple other cabins that were built around that time, a little bit later in the 1800s. Cool. And there has not been much investigations done in these places that you can find. So it would be a real neat place to investigate. I'll be there with Wes Forsythe of Paranormal Filler and Three Girls in the Dark, who are friends of mine from the St. Louis area. And so we'll all be there on, and that's going to be on October the 15th from 7 to 12. And for tickets for that, you can go to www.paranormalfiller.com/lost history, or on my webpage is www.coyotechris.com, and you can find all these events on there.
Okay.
And in November, I will be doing an introduction to shamanism class at a place called Blessed by Light in Charleston, Illinois, and that is on my webpage as well. You can look it up there. That's a good class. I have a lot of fun teaching that, and that's the first time I've been there at this place at Blessed by Light. So it'll be fun. So I can tell you, it's getting close to winter time, so hopefully the events are going to start winding down a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, a friend of mine, it's the first time I've ever really been kind of looking forward to winter. I'm tired of cutting the grass. I'm tired of driving all over the place. But it's been fun. It's one of my most active years, and it has been my most active year, and I'm very thankful for it. Getting to meet so many cool people, and so I'm looking forward to gearing back up once it gets warm again. Well, definitely I want to come down. I want to go to Kingdom. I got to go. I'm all psyched up now.
Yeah, well,
we'll talk some more. We'll get see if we can get a couple people to come down and get a lot of people to that. So that'd be good.
Oh yeah, it's always. I literally have been there thousands of hours, because we've investigated there for a number of years, and then I'm on the board of directors, and it's extremely rare to be there and not something happen.
Right.
And so I think you'll really enjoy it. And there's slave cabins there. About 20 acres of the land are still there with it, and definitely worth the time to come down and investigate. So, but I invite everyone to check out Chris's website, find him on Facebook, and check out these events, because they really sound like they're going to be interesting over the next couple of months. So.
Most definitely, they will be.
And I really enjoyed this, Chris, and I'll have to have you back on again and delve into the spiritual topics a little more. And
sure.
And I wish you luck with those events, and we will talk to you soon.
That sounds great, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, I really appreciate it, and we both had a little trouble meeting up to get this done, and so I'm really glad that we got it done, and it was quite a joy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.